From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. We're going to switch things up tonight and start our newscast with sports with Joe Cook. He's got some big news about the Yukon Quest.
Yeah, well, if you missed the Yukon Quest finish, we have it right here. Last night at 10:52 p.m., Brent Sass cruised across the finish line with 12 dogs to win the 2015 race. It's the first Yukon Quest title for Sass, who almost won last year before suffering an injury in an accident which ended his 2014 run. Sass will not be denied this year despite a close second half in the 1,000-mile race with two-time defending champion Alan Moore. Sass wins a little over $24,000 and 4 ounces of gold for winning this year's quest. So congrats to Mr. Sass.
Awesome, Joe. And Joe, you got to be there at the finish line, so that's got to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a great moment. Almost all of Fairbanks seemed to be down there on the Chena River, and I'll have more coming up in the sports block. So,
awesome. Well, thanks, Joe.
All right.
All right, well, in other news tonight, a Fairbanks man accused of killing his girlfriend in an accident while driving intoxicated was back in court this afternoon. 26-year-old Kieran Duffy has been indicted on 2 felonies, criminally negligent homicide and manslaughter. Today, Duffy pleaded not guilty to those charges. According to an affidavit, Duffy was the driver in a single vehicle rollover near 12 Mile Village that killed his sole passenger and girlfriend, 26-year-old Amber Evans. Troopers say Duffy denied operating the vehicle under the influence, but seatbelt impressions and other evidence collected at the scene indicated that he was the driver. Evans was reportedly thrown from the vehicle and pronounced dead on scene. Duffy is currently being held without bail at Fairbanks Correctional Center. Trial for his case was set for April. U.S. Interior Secretary Sally Jewell is visiting Alaska and was in Kotzebue yesterday. On the tour with her were members of the state's congressional delegation, the governor, native leaders, and legislators. Jewell had agreed last November to attend the Alaska Federation of Natives leadership meeting to talk about subsistence and other issues. Now, those plans were made before recent moves by the federal government to block oil exploration in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and increase restrictions on other parts of the state.
I have a job that is difficult. It's full of conflict. Makes some people happy and some people unhappy, and usually more people unhappy than happy. Certainly seems to have been the case in Alaska here lately.
Governor Bill Walker today ordered state flags to be lowered at half-staff tomorrow in honor of the late state representative Bob Bettysworth. He died Sunday at the age of 88 in Mesa, Arizona. Now, in a release issued today, Walker called Bettysworth a true Alaskan pioneer while extending condolences to his family. Bettysworth, who served in the Alaska State House from 1957 to 1958 and then later from 81 to 84, was also among the first members of the Fairbanks North Star Borough Assembly. He served that body from 65 to 76. Flags will fly at half-staff tomorrow and will be returned to full staff on Thursday. Also today, Governor Walker appointed Jared Godfrey as senior advisor on rural business and intergovernmental affairs. Walker made the announcement in Kotzebue at a retreat hosted by the Alaska Federation of Natives. Godfrey currently serves as the director of corporate affairs for Afugnak Native Corporation and has chaired Alaska's Violent Crimes Compensation Board for the past 13 years. A Coast Guard helicopter crew hoisted 4 fishermen from a vessel that ran aground yesterday morning. The fishing boat Savannah Ray became grounded in Chiniak Bay near Kodiak Island around 2 a.m. Monday morning. Petty Officer Kelly Parker says the weather was pretty severe with 50-mile-per-hour wind and 11-foot seas. The 4 men were taken safely to emergency medical services in Kodiak and were reported to be in good condition. Parker says survival suits and life rafts help in emergency situations, as well as EPIRBs, or emergency position indicating radio beacons.
The device that's on the vessel, it can either be activated manually, or if it gets submerged, it can be activated that way. Once it's set off, it alerts responders to that there's a possible incident happening at that moment. It's definitely something that can be life-saving, especially in Alaska.
When we come back, the proper use of a wood stove can aid you greatly during a cold spell. UAF is offering a workshop on wood stoves. Now, also, obese children across the country could be looking at a future of heart problems. Our health report tonight will reveal more information on that. Those stories and more when we return. Welcome back to the Fbx Evening News. Not guilty pleas today for a man facing 50 criminal charges. 36-year-old Brian Campbell is charged with 25 felonies, including theft and fraud. Now, he is also charged with 25 misdemeanors. According to court documents, Campbell used a stolen credit card at multiple locations around the Fairbanks area, racking up thousands of dollars in charges. Campbell allegedly made purchases at Walmart, Fred Meyer, Old Navy, and a Holiday gas station. Today, Fairbanks Superior Court Judge Michael McDonald set Campbell's trial for May 2015. Nearly 1 year later, and after an alleged confession to police, a Fairbanks man is in custody charged with arson. 48-year-old Thomas Monroe was accused of setting fire to his brother's cabin last April. Today in Fairbanks Superior Court, Monroe pleaded not guilty. Monroe reportedly went to police in January to admit he had set the cabin on fire. The cabin was totaled in the fire. Monroe was injured and taken to Fairbanks Memorial Hospital. Now, according to an affidavit, Monroe also admitted to setting his mother's house on fire. Trial for his case will be held in April. The University of Alaska Fairbanks is offering a free workshop on how to efficiently use wood to heat your home. The UAF Cooperative Extension Service is offering the workshop, which will be held Saturday at the Murray Building on campus from 10 to 2 p.m. The agenda includes using chainsaws, where to find firewood, stove maintenance, and more. Information will be presented by several organizations, including the Cold Climate Housing Research Center, the Fairbanks North Star Borough, and the Alaska Division of Forestry. Field Forester Glenn Holt says this workshop will help with the air quality, as well as teach people how to use newer stoves efficiently.
The old stoves were good in their day, but the newer stoves are much more efficient, and they're actually certified by the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, and that is to increase combustion and lessen the amount of particulate that comes out of our wood stoves, which is really important when it gets very cold here.
4 talented Canadian percussionists are in town and playing a concert this week after an invite from the Fairbanks Concert Association. Now, they call themselves Torque Percussion Quartet. After critical acclaim in their home country, the group is going beyond Canada's borders to promote their music across the globe. The quartet paid a visit to Pioneer's home today, playing xylophone, drums, and other percussion instruments for local elders. But the group isn't stopping there. They'll be performing at various locations all week, culminating in a final concert this Friday at Herring Auditorium. Tickets can be purchased online at alaskatix.com. Quartet member Jamie Drake says the group is very excited to be sharing their music with everyone.
Lots of instruments, lots of different musical styles, really a great variety, and a really fun and engaging show. It'll be something a little different than you've probably seen, so really excited to share what we do with Fairbanks.
Heart disease is still the leading cause of death in the United States, and it might surprise you to learn that for many people, the disease starts developing in childhood. Monty Bowen has more in this week's health report.
Pediatrician Dr. Sarah LePace says obesity is one of the critical risk factors for heart disease in children because it can lead to others.
Of the adolescents that are overweight or obese, up to 60% of them have at least one risk factor for cardiovascular disease. So that includes prediabetes, diabetes, hypertension, and cholesterol problems.
Screening for cardiovascular disease risk factors in overweight and obese children can help. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force recommends regular blood pressure screenings for children with symptoms of high blood pressure or an underlying health problem that could cause hypertension, like obesity. Dr. LePace says it's important to identify children who may be at risk for developing heart disease early, not to put them on medication, but to educate them.
So it all goes back to trying to have a healthy lifestyle to prevent heart problems later in life. So it's trying to get to a healthy weight now, being active and eating well.
This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Health Report is brought to you by the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic, located in the Medical Dental Arts Building. Call 456-7768.
All right, Joe Cook is next with sports. You'll hear more about the Yukon Quest from champion Brett Sass. And it's Tuesday, so of course that means another Nana Corner. It's all on the way after the break.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here with your local Tuesday sports. Monday in downtown Fairbanks, we saw the finish of what was a pretty close Yukon Quest. Now we revisit Brent Sass winning it all. Monday night, a new Yukon Quest champion was crowned. Brent Sass of Eureka, Alaska strolled into downtown Fairbanks on the Chena River, crossing the finish line with 12 dogs at 10:52 p.m. to hundreds of cheering Quest fans. This is the first Yukon Quest title for Sass, who passed two-time defending champion Alan Moore in the last leg of the race, with lead dog Basin taking charge.
It's pretty amazing. I got an awesome dog team down there. It's real proud of those 12 dogs down there. Oh, this is fun, isn't it? I told him, and we both smiled, and I went on by, and he stuck with me for a little ways, and then I was gone. Yeah, the future's real bright. I got 25 puppies at home right now that are all 7, 8 months old that my handlers are training up, so the future is very bright for Wild and Free.
The runner-up, Alan Moore, arrived at 12:06 a.m. today. He was greeted by his wife, Allie Zirkle, the SP Kennel crew, and Sass himself. Despite not getting the three-peat, the Arkansas native and Two River resident has been either champion or second place in the last 4 quests.
I thought it could have been just like it was 2 years ago, where they really rocked. I mean, like Brent's team did this year, and I thought my team would be that team, but it wasn't to be. And I mean, I had a few with diarrhea, this, that, and the other, but maybe that played a part, but who knows? They just didn't have it this year.
So after not ending the 2014 race, which he led, due to an injury from a run-in with a moose, Sass overcame that heartbreak, another moose encounter this year, and had to come back in the last leg, trailing Moore by 2 minutes to get his first Yukon Quest victory. Sass wins $24,061 and collects 4 ounces of gold for being the first to Dawson and finishing the race. An elated Sass is truly running wild and free. And in today's Nanook Corner, the basketball teams will be wrapping up their seasons in the next couple of weeks. Here's more on the men's and women's squads. The Nanook men's basketball team finally ended their 9-game losing streak emphatically with an 87-65 win over Montana State Billings on Saturday. They made 15 threes in that game, which is the 3rd most in a game in Alaska's GNAC history. With those historic numbers, along with even the close losses they've had, 4 games decided by 5 points or less during that 9-game skid, head coach McDermott believes his team has improved.
We've come a long ways there. I mean, for us to score 87 points, shoot 60%. There was a time there where, we were averaging about 64 points a game, and we've got ourselves up to about 70 now. So we've made strides on both ends.
Alaska will visit Northwest Nazarene this Thursday. That's going to be on Root Sports. Then they will head to Central Washington on Saturday. Their final 2 games will be at home. For the Alaska women's team, it's crunch time. After Saturday's 77-61 loss to number 3 UAA, the Nanooks are in a 3-way tie at 5-9 for the final GNAC playoff spot. They are also a game behind Central Washington for the 5th seed. The women's team will also be on the road this week. They play 2 playoff teams at Western Washington Thursday and Simon Fraser on Saturday. Their final 2 games will be at the Patty Center.
Nanook Corner, brought to you by Sports Medicine Fairbanks.
And to the victor goes the spoils. Monday, 2 Nanook hockey players were recognized by the WCHA after their series win over #1 Minnesota State. Junior assistant captain Tyler Morley was named WCHA Offensive Player of the Week. Morley scored 3 goals in the Mavericks series, including 2 in Saturday night's 3-1 win. Morley is 3rd in the WCHA in scoring with 32 points this year. Senior goalie Sean Cahill is the WCHA Defensive Player of the Week in 2 games against the Mavs. Cahill allowed only 2 goals, made 39 saves, and had a 96% save percentage. He is 3-0-1 in his last 4 outings. The UF ski teams had solid endings to their conference championship races. 3 men and 3 women finished in the top 15 at the Central Collegiate Ski Association Championships on Sunday. Senior Jonas Loeffler led the Nooks with an 11th place 20-minute 44-second time in the 10K. Nick Lovett and Isaac Lammers were 14th and 15th, and Atina Marquette was 10th overall in the 5K in 14 minutes 48 seconds to lead Nicole Bathan and Catherine Uhl for the team. UF will compete in NCAA Central Regional Championships in Michigan at the end of the month. Lastly, over the weekend, high school basketball, 2 interior teams made the Elks tournament final. The Delta Junction Huskies boys team, they defeated Cordova 63-43 to win the championship. Delta beat Hutch 49-48 in overtime in the semifinal. The Hutchinson girls, they finished in 2nd place as the Valdez Buccaneers won the title game 51-34. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back into the Fbx Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again, talking about weather. And we're talking about another gorgeous day across the interior. Temperatures very mild. Going to cool down a little bit tomorrow, but then warm back up for the weekend. That's some good news. And boy, you talk about our photographs. We get some great photographs here. This one is going to be in the top 10. Look at this gorgeous photograph sent in by Tom Schneider. He captured the green auroras in North Pole last night. And those auroras look like they're coming down below the cloud deck, but of course we know that's not possible. But man, what a beautiful shot that is. The colors are just vivid. And as always, if you have a photograph you want to share, by all means send it to photos@ktvf11.com. We'll share it with the rest of the audience. Here's our almanac for today. The high 37. Right now it's 28 degrees, a low last night of 14 above. Record high 37 in 1941, down to 49 below in 1965. Your sunrise and sunset, 8 hours and 53 minutes. We'll go over 9 hours tomorrow. And our satellite and radar, one area of low pressure working its way up from the south across southern sections of Alaska, and another area of low pressure. And this one is going to be really a big storm for the west coast of Alaska, bringing heavy snow to places like Nome and Bethel, and it's all because of that area of low pressure that's really circulating up there. Now, what else is going on across the rest of the state? Well, a little rain falling around Ketchikan, 42 degrees there. Anchorage clearing out. Partly cloudy, 43 degrees. Not too bad. Kodiak, 36. Cold Bay, cloudy and 40. A little bit of snow over the southwest portion of the state, and more snow expected, like I said. Barrow at 0 exactly, and Fort Yukon, 16 degrees above 0. Lower 48 weather, it looks like this, and things are nice once again up and down the west coast. Very strong high pressure there. Cooling off down around Denver, 34 degrees there. Dallas at 54. Only 10 degrees in Minneapolis. Elsewhere in the eastern half of the country, record-breaking temperatures. Chicago at 19, New York 28 degrees. On the satellite and radar, you can see once again the area of low pressure, I should say low pressure trough associated with the jet stream is helping to drive a lot of moisture out over the Atlantic Ocean, but also bringing a lot of cold air in. In fact, the jet stream is bringing some record-breaking temperatures. You can see here, Cincinnati 5 degrees below 0. Their old record was 4 below. Detroit at 4 below, tying their record. Chicago once again beating their old record, so a lot of records broken. Atlanta 15 degrees above their old record of 13. And again, the jet stream is the culprit here, bringing all that cold air in from the Arctic north and helping to chill down much of the eastern half of the country, while just the opposite in the west, warm and nice. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow in the northern sections. Here's what it looks like. Cloudy skies in Barrow, 8 to 10 inches of snow in Nome. It'd be good for the Iditarod, that's for sure. Mostly cloudy skies at Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at the little breezy in the Healy area, otherwise partly cloudy skies at Fairbanks and Delta Junction. Over southeast Alaska, widespread rainfall, a little rain at Juneau, but more heavier rain expected in the Ketchikan area, still 47 degrees there. Over the southwest part of the state, it looks like windy conditions at Cold Bay, rain and snow in Bethel, and partly cloudy skies at Kodiak. While over the south central regions, looking at dense fog for Valdez, scattered clouds for Homer, and also at Anchorage. Okay, time once again for our weather fact as we're giving the kids the week off. And our weather fact was in 1990, California, a huge storm swept across the entire state with 4 feet of snow in the Sierra Nevadas. And that was over a 2-day period. As always, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our Kids Weather Watch. And next week, we'll be visiting with the kids from Weller Elementary School. Okay, here's your forecast. For tonight, 6 degrees, the overnight low, partly cloudy. Not as cold, maybe some more auroras. It's about a Category 4 right now. Tomorrow's forecast, 21 degrees above, partly cloudy, continued mild. And like I said, the warmer temperatures are returning for the weekend. As you see, right around freezing all the way through Monday of next week. Overnight lows will also be very nice, 16 degrees for the overnight low, and no real snow chances in the forecast right now, but maybe possibly next week when the ice art opens up to the public, the 23rd of Monday.
You know, I think I said this to you today in our newsroom. Yeah. Is there going to be any ice for the ice art at the rate this is going?
If you go to their website, you'll see they're still carving ice, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
It's just that you can't get real warm.
I'll be interested to hear those interviews and pieces you do to see how they maintain the ice when it's this warm.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk to them about that.
It'll turn to slush.
We'll be in a big freezer.
Also want to wish my wife happy anniversary.
Oh,
it's our 42nd anniversary.
So first they're the prom king and queen, and now they're how many years?
42nd.
42.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, amazing she put up with me that long.
Well, happy anniversary, Darlene. And Mike.
Okay.
All right. That'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. As always, we're glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, the West Coast Sports gridlock drags on after the holiday weekend. That's next with Lester Holt.
And a reminder to join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
And don't forget about Facebook, KTPF's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
We got 'em all covered.
YouTube. We are everywhere.
We're on
follow
your
us.
Etch-a-Sketch too.
All right, from all of us at the News Center, have a good night.
Good night.